and welcome to the Doofcast, a film and TV podcast from Doof Media. My name is Scott Daly, and joining me, as always, he is miles off his baseline. It's Matt Freeman. How's it going, Matt?
Dreadfully distinct. Cells.
I don't remember what the whole thing
just,
was.
Let me go home to my little apartment.
Cells. This week, our series discussing the best 25 movies of the 21st century so far, as voted on by our patrons, continues. Matt, for the third till final time, could you please explain how this whole thing works?
Well, if you head on over to if you head on over to doofmovies.com, then you will see that you have the ability to vote for your favorite movie of the 21st century, and in fact, make a list of movies of your favorite movies of the 21st century. And if you're a patron of Doof Media, then you will have the ability to count those votes toward the total. Almost 25 times, and I think that's the worst time that I've done that.
It's okay. You've got two more chances.
Got two more. It's you get overconfident is what happens.
Mm-hmm.
You think it's just going to come right out, and it doesn't.
Yeah. Well, this week we are doing our 23rd film, and it is the film Blade Runner 2049. I just want to say, Matt, officially, Denis Villeneuve wins the most listed director on this list. This is our third Denis film in the top 25. We did Arrival, we did Dune 2, and now here we have Blade Runner 2049. So congratulations to Denis.
Yeah.
Clearly the best director of the 21st century. That's what that means.
I mean, this makes me happy because I love Denis Villeneuve. And as people may or may not know, I love Blade Runner 2049. I think there was a period of time when I just readily answered the question, what is your favorite movie, with Blade Runner 2049? And the only reason I don't necessarily give the same answer now is I'm just less sure that that's true. Part of the reason being I hadn't seen the movie in forever. And possibly some other movies might have knocked it off the top slot, but it was nice to revisit it. I definitely actually had, I think fair to say I had some different reactions to it with another 9 or so years of movie watching and life experience under my belt. So that's cool. And I'm really looking forward to talking about it with you.
This is great. I just want to remind you and name drop for our listeners that Mike Flanagan asked Matt and I what our Letterboxd top 4 were.
Uh-huh.
And Matt had a panic attack because he doesn't have a Letterboxd.
That's right.
But this is one of the movies you threw out to him.
Yep, that's so.
You're confident enough that this is your favorite movie that you to Mike Flanagan.
Some amount of wherewithal to give that answer. Yes.
Yeah. It was a delightful thing. We're gonna have to get you set up on Letterboxd, Matt, just to prove the anti-claim that you don't love movies.
Yeah, which has now become a rumor, a dark rumor that I've been hearing.
I mean, it started by you, to be fair.
Maybe I did say that.
All right, Blade Runner 2049. Matt, what is this movie about?
This movie is about young Blade Runner K's discovery of a long-buried secret leads him to track down former Blade Runner Rick Deckard, who's been missing for 30 years. This
movie was written by Hampton Fancher and Michael Green. It was directed by Denis Villeneuve, and it stars, of course, Mr. Ryan Gosling, Ana de Armas, Harrison Ford, as well as a bunch of other wonderful actors. Matt, you said that this was your favorite movie. You said that you've watched this movie many times. For the record, this is the second time I've seen this movie ever.
That's pretty interesting to me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't absolutely flabbergast me because it is like a 3-hour movie.
It is.
But I really love this movie, and I watch it there was a period of time when I was watching it every time I was on an airplane. Mm-hmm. And then that was replaced with Dune and then Dune 2. So that might tell you how I feel about Villeneuve, I guess.
But only specifically on airplanes.
So I get, I definitely have evolved my relationship with the movie over the years, but I guess since this is only the second time you've seen it, I wonder if you were surprised, if you were like taken off guard by anything. I just want to hear your reactions.
Yeah, so I was surprised by how, and I don't mean this as an insult, but how like straightforward the plot of this movie is. I think I just kind of in my head built it up as some like really complicated thing, where I think the plot is actually pretty simple. Now, what the theming and there's like, I love this movie. There's plenty of great things to talk about, the things that this movie's doing, but just like the beat to beat events of what this movie is like pretty easy to follow, I think.
Yeah.
And I had built it up in my head as something else. In that regard, I remembered the plot as I was going through the movie. I was like, oh yeah. I did kind of get to relive the fun moment that I had in the theater, though, because I had forgotten that Ryan Gosling's character is a replicant. And I do remember going to the movie theater and they tell you that like within the first 5 minutes of the movie. And you get to go, oh, I guess we're not doing is the main character a replicant question. And I had forgotten that on this revisit, so I had a very similar like, oh, yeah. And then after that I remembered that like this is what the whole movie is him feeling like he's special and important and different, only to find out he's not, and yet still is.
Yeah.
No, I love this movie. Just as beautiful to look at as it was the first time I saw it. I like was on my TV. I have a very good TV, so like not complaining about that, but man, like I remembered watching this movie in the theater and just being absolutely awed. Like this won Deakins his Oscar for cinematography. Just a gorgeous movie. All the performances are very good, and I really like the things that this movie is exploring. I have a lot to say. I think I don't know if I'm going to repeat myself, so I think we should say we discovered this right before we started recording because we vaguely remembered that we recorded an episode on this, which we did a very long time ago. It was you, me, and our friend Michael who did not like the movie. And so you and I did not just get to have like a straight talk about how good this movie was, is because we were defending it from Michael.
Yeah.
But no, I think this is a phenomenal movie. I don't know if any Villeneuve movie is going to rip Arrival away from my favorite Villeneuve movie status. But I enjoyed my time with this one a lot. I would say it's a little long. Just a little bit.
Yeah. I think I agree with everything you said there. I think one of the things that kind of shifted for me, or maybe became conscious to me is a better way of saying it, is how much of the reason I love this movie is the way that it looks.
Yeah.
Not that I didn't know it was a beautiful movie, but I think the difference to me internally feels like I love this because of how beautiful it is. You know, like there's whole sequences where really, you know, it's very slow, just objectively. It's a long movie and it's very slow and very little is happening, but you are mesmerized by it because of how beautiful it is, how creative the imagery is. You know, there's stuff like the whole adventure into Las Vegas, I think is an interesting example of this, because like on paper, you can imagine a version of that whole section of the movie that's like 5 minutes, but they make it last far longer than that. And I think, you know, if the movie's not working for you, then you might say this is dragging, this is irritating. But like, if the movie's working for you, if you're vibing with it, and you're open to just the visual experience of it, it's this, you know, hallucinatory journey. And you really, to me, every time I watch this movie, it just kind of hypnotizes me, and I slow down. My attention, like I can feel my brain waves. They change from the erratic alpha pattern to the slow, mellow beta pattern. I have no idea how brainwaves work, but like I feel like I'm tuning into the frequency of the movie, and very few movies do that to me. And this is one where I was actually kind of wondering, like, am I gonna connect with the movie after not having watched it in a few years, and you know, I don't know, changing, and I did, but I connected to it differently. I connected to it, I think, much more as a visual experience.
Mm-hmm.
Because like you said, the story is simple and easily understood. The character journey, I think, works pretty. I think works very well the first time you see it,
Yeah.
and then subsequent views. It's not like, oh, the movie sucks now. It's just like, oh, I know that he's not the child. So all of the times when you're watching the character agonize about the idea that like maybe I'm the child, like you know that he's not. So it's a little bit of a different experience.
The tension of those moments, yeah. I mean, like when he meets Deckard and he's asking Deckard, like, you didn't ever come see your kid, you didn't ever try to do it, and there's a lot of charged stuff there because he thinks it's him. He thinks he's talking to his father and like chastising his father about never having met him before.
Right.
And we know that's not the case. So yeah, I agree with that. Because it's been so long, I was remembering the plot as I was going, so I got as close to a first view experience as I could get. But I could definitely see if you have this movie kind of on repeat pretty regularly, that it is a movie that feels like, because it's so slow moving and yeah, as you said, gorgeous. Like maybe you're like, I know what the next plot beat is. Can we get to it?
Yeah. You know, but it's not that bad. I mean, like the part when he's going out, you know, he's found the papers ripped out in the orphanage guy's office, and he's going down the stairs to the incinerator, to the furnace or whatever it is. That it's like 5 minutes of him walking downstairs, and I swear, like it still engages me. Yeah, you're watching Ryan Gosling walk down some stairs and reach into a thing real slow, and I'm still. Because you're with the character, because the visuals are gorgeous, because the music is doing that thing where it's this like, you know, endless glissando slide going down, 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 down. And it's like the music is such a vibe, by the way. Like I love the music in this movie. I don't necessarily listen to the soundtrack of this movie because it's not, I don't know. It's not like pleasant to listen to is one way of putting it. Like it goes with the movie perfectly, but it's not actually like a normal soundtrack, but that's kind of why it works so well with the movie. Is it's unique.
It's Hans Zimmer, and I find that happens a lot with Hans Zimmer and me. I think he's a brilliant composer, but like it's not the type of things that I necessarily want to like boot up and listen to. I know I'm saying this to you, who listened to the Gladiator soundtrack on repeat in his car for the entire time he was in college, but so I don't mean this as an insult to you, but I've always liked Hans Zimmer scores, but never in a way of like, I need to listen to this music independent from the film. Yeah. It's always for me just been like, this is the perfect song for this movie.
Yeah. And that's how I feel about this soundtrack. You know, I think it fits the movie very well. In many ways, it's an unusual soundtrack for Hans Zimmer because it's very, you know, it's got that, you know, retro electronica thing that reminds you of the original Blade Runner while kind of doing its own thing. I think that could be said of a lot of aspects of this movie, is like we're definitely trying to remind you of Blade Runner, but we're doing our own thing.
Yeah, for sure. It's kind of insane how good this movie is, considering all that it's like the cynic in everyone says you can't make a sequel to Blade Runner, a movie that nobody saw, but then everyone fell in love with after the fact. The idea of trying to make a legacy sequel, like, so to refresh everyone's memory, this movie came out in 2017, which I couldn't believe. Both in that we talked about it almost 10 years ago, but that the movie was released almost 10 years ago and certainly filmed 10 years ago. And I did not think that at all. And I think part of that is that I feel like Ryan Gosling has not aged a bit in 10 years. The only time that made me really say, wait a minute, was Harrison Ford. Like I've been watching a show on Apple TV called Shrinking, which is very good. Harrison Ford is in it, and he's an old man. And part of that show is that he's playing a very old man who has Parkinson's. So maybe he's playing a little bit older. But even still, like looking at Harrison Ford now, and then he like walks out from behind the shadows in this movie, and I was like, damn, Harrison, you're looking good. Yeah, it was 10 fucking years ago. Yeah. That's why he's looking 10 years younger than you're used to seeing him. So, but I can't believe it was that long ago. But like this, there was a lot of the legacy sequel stuff happening in this time in the late 2010s, and most of them were bad. It's pretty remarkable to me that this movie is as good as it is. I mean, one thing I messaged to you earlier today was the idea that this is a movie that's almost 3 hours long, and Deckard doesn't enter it until the hour and 47-minute mark. I think I looked specifically, like, how like, you got to imagine the suits being like, you can't do that.
Yeah.
Like, what are you talking about? Like, we need him at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of what's interesting about the movie is one wonders how much of a say the suits had at all in a movie that's like 3 hours long and like extremely slow, and which are all things that I like about it. Like, I like that it really takes its time with these things, and we spend all this time just sitting around Kay's apartment getting a feel for his life, right? Like that.
Yeah, well, because that's so important to what the movie's actually doing. Yeah.
Exactly. I mean, I kind of view this movie as a slice of life drama about a couple of artificial beings that happens to have a detective story in it, because the part of the story I think that engages you and pulls you along is the theming stuff, like you mentioned at the start of the conversation, which is also one of the reasons why it's my favorite movie, is the way it approaches these themes, where you have the idea of, artificial. I think artificial intelligence now means something different in 2026, which is a funny and terrifying statement, but like,
true,
artificial, existence. I don't know. We don't quite have a word for this, but like an artificial person, a person who has a mind, and we see from watching him and the way he lives his life that he is just like you or I. In fact, perhaps he's more human than human, as Mackenzie Davis says. That these characters, these replicants, are almost like angelic, and in some ways, but yet they're treated as chattel. And the drama of that, the emotionality of that, the questions, the struggle, the journey he goes on to consider, like, what is it to be, to real, like the idea that maybe he was born, and if I was born, then I have a soul. Her one of my favorite bits of Ryan Gosling acting of all time is her saying, "Don't worry, you've been doing fine without one." He goes, "Without one what?" And she goes, "A soul." And then he just stares at her stunned for like 4 seconds and then leaves.
Yeah.
That's a great, and they don't talk a lot about it, right? A lot of these heady sci-fi movies where there's themes, there's like conversations about like, but what is it? Concordantly vis-a-vis the Matrix. And they don't talk about these themes, hardly any. There's a little bit of it in there, here and there, but mostly you're just like experiencing it with the characters. You're just empathizing with the characters, and you're experiencing with the characters, and you experience his life. You experience his relationship to his, fully, AI, computer AI girlfriend, and you kind of struggle. You're kind of like empathically with him. You struggle with like, what is this? Is this just comfort for him? Is this the ChatGPT girlfriend of the 2020, the 2020s? And he is having essentially a one-sided relationship with a, with an autocomplete window, or is there actually something to her that is real, in the same way that there's something to him that is real, that is itself denied by the humans who see him as a piece of hardware? And the movie doesn't answer the questions. It just kind of puts you in the empathic space with the characters. And I like that. I like that it treats the themes that way.
Yeah. I completely agree. Joy, to me, is the linchpin of the entire movie, because that's the central question, is like, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be real? What does it mean to have a soul? And it's very easy to look at Joy the exact same way everyone looks at Kay, which is that, no, this is a creation, a being. It's not real. It doesn't have free will. It doesn't have a soul. And that's the ultimate question, because and it's the thing I go back and forth on with Joy, right? Because like I think there's a part of you that absolutely wants to believe that Joy is special in the same way Kay is special. That Joy has broken out of her programming in a way that the things that she's feeling for Kay are more than just, this is the product, this is what you're supposed to do. But man, the movie does a really good job for reminding you of those things every time, right? Like what do we cut to after the sex scene? We cut to her advertisement outside with the tagline, "Everything you want to see, anything you want to hear." Like this is what Joy is. Joy is supposed to be what you want. It's an AI so intelligent that it can predict and know what you want and give you that exact thing. Does Joy have agency, right? Does Joy want to love Kay, or does Joy have to love Kay? I don't know. I don't know.
I don't know either. And I also don't know if agency is necessary for us to care.
Yeah.
And which is a fascinating question, because you could just as well say, like, do I have the agency to choose not to love my children?
Mm-hmm.
It's like, I don't know, I guess. I mean, kind of no, maybe. Like, but like that doesn't bother me. It doesn't bother me that I don't have that. And I'm not, I'm not like criticizing your point. It's just like, it really forces us to dig at these intuitions we have around why do we care about people the way that we do, and intuitions around artificial intelligence. I mean, I do wish that. I mean, I don't want to go all current year about this, but I am pretty like disappointed in the way people basically commit the exact same, in my opinion, error as like the police chief, Princess Buttercup, where they're basically just like, it's really convenient for me to think of Kay as a machine who also happens to be a hot man that I can possibly mac on.
Have they hooked up? Because there's like she asks about it.
I don't think they have.
It's unclear if she's ever like ordered him to bang her.
I interpret it as they have not, but she's kind of working herself up to it.
Sure.
And probably could make that happen if she wanted, if she just told him. And he would have, I mean, he has no rights, right? The only reason she doesn't is that she basically feels embarrassed. But like the point is, okay, again, I'm trying to get this over with because it's not really relevant to the movie discussion, but like that's exactly what people have done, is they basically treat the most interesting thing that has happened technologically in my lifetime like we shouldn't even bother worrying about whether this is conscious or sentient or can feel anything or matters morally in any way, because it's inconvenient for us to have to ask those questions. And we're just going to treat it like it's Microsoft Word and not think about it. And that's exactly what the movie shows people doing. Most people. And then of course you have characters like Neander Wallace who are actually incredibly grandiose and probably do think that the replicants are sapient, but basically think that just makes them God. Instead of thinking like, instead of diminishing their value, it actually just becomes grandiosity, which is also a way that can go, right? A way that you could imagine that going.
Well, and he still kind of wants to enslave them, right?
Yes,
like
totally,
it's not like
totally.
he's like, oh, they're God, therefore they are the master race, and they will take over leading. It's like, no, actually, I'm really interested in them reproducing because that makes it easier for me to build more of them.
Yeah. No, maybe I misspoke. Like he sees himself as God and them as like angels. And but the important thing is it's his own grandeur that he's concerned with.
Yes. No, I mean, I think I agree with your point. I think one of the central questions this movie asks is like, what is, to quote Morpheus, like, how do you define real? Like, what is real, right? I mean, we're talking about joy. We're talking about, is joy just simply a computer program? that is feeling the way she feels about Kay because she's a product and that's what she's supposed to do. Yes, probably. But like what is the difference? You know, like if she feels all those if she feels all those things because she's programmed to feel all those things, there's a part of me that's like, well, I reject that. It's not natural or whatever that means,
Mm-hmm.
right? But like, I mean, it's the same thing with Kay's dreams. Is like he has these dreams. They're not his, but they feel like his. So doesn't that make them real still? Right? Like, I mean, there's a lot of really interesting things that the movie does in the way they shoot Gosling as compared to the child, Dr. Anna. Like that at the very end when she's standing under the snow and like holding her hand out and like watching the snow fall, like he does that same thing.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, because like the memories that she had, she put into him.
Yeah.
And so like he's like her in a lot of ways because we are a product of our experiences. Does it matter if those experiences are quote unquote real or not? I mean, let's be honest, like memories are artificial anyway.
Yeah.
It's a construct of a replay in our head of a thing that happened.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I love that it makes us ask these questions and doesn't give us the answers, just kind of forces you to sit with it.
And I think emotionally, like you want Joy to be real. Like emotionally, you want this to have meant something to her. And that's the devastating moment when he sees the big giant naked Joy at the end that not only says the same words and lines that she'd been saying to him, but then calls him Joe.
Yeah.
And like he had made this special, unique thing between the two of them. And it's also just part of her programming. But like, and that is the thing that devastates him ultimately, fully devastates him. But like, I think the movie is asking how much does that matter?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I agree with you. I think you're right. I think that a moment or an experience can have meaning even if the context of that moment is sort of artificial, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think that's true. One thing I don't remember this. I'm sure that I noticed it because I've watched the movie so many times, but I forgot that, like, you know, he has that moment which is crushing, and I think you feel it just the way you described. But then at the, you know, close to the end of the movie, when he's like struggling to swim away from the crashed car, Red Hulk goes back for him.
Jesus, man.
and calls him Joe, and is like, Joe, and it, like, I don't remember that affecting me as much as it affected me this time, that like his surrogate father, who, you know, we know is not his father, but he kind of is, right? He kind of is his father. He's kind of the father of all of the replicants because he's this girl's father, and she gave them their memories that makes them feel connected and more whole and more real. Yeah. And so in a way he is, I know he's literally not, but in a way he is Joe's dad, and him calling him Joe just felt like it got me. It really got me on this viewing. I don't remember that specific bit from previous viewings. That's
a great point. I really love that. But does that my head's turning in circles here. Like, does that refute the Joy side of it? Because like Joy called him Joe, but that was artificial and fake and constructed. Deckard calls him Joe because of their real, genuine connection and bond between each other.
I mean, I think you could view it that way. Like, I think it depends on how you want to read the movie, which is kind of fun in my opinion, because you can read the movie as Joy is a completely inert construct with no inner life. There's nothing that it is like to be her. Mm-hmm. Her actions are all just computed by some, you know, if then else tree that just dictates just do whatever thing is going to make him happy. And you can read the movie that way, and you can say, well, he is still having a really meaningful experience with an entity that is completely absent, actually. Mm-hmm. But does that mean that his half of the experience is like invalid for some reason? I would argue no, because he's having all of these emotions on his side. And maybe I think we can actually say in his mind, there's this seed of doubt, just like in ours. There's this seed of doubt in Kay's mind as to like, am I just completely deluded? Am I actually in a relationship with ChatGPT? Because we have a few beats of this. Like in the beginning, he gets her the emanator. They go outside on the roof, and then she like freezes, and she's like standing there really awkwardly, and you kind of see on his face, you know, you're projecting because he doesn't explain this to us, but you're kind of projecting this idea where he's like, kind of ruined the moment by reminding me that she is just, you know, a screensaver. It
broke the illusion.
It broke the illusion for him. But then he clearly is able, and we can call it an illusion, right? We can he really wants to believe it. And that puts us in the position of wanting to believe it, but it also doesn't mean he's wrong, right? So to finish my thought, like, yeah, you can read it as there's nothing to her. Like Mackenzie Davis says, there's not that much going on in there, but she doesn't really know that for a fact. And maybe she has a rich inner life. Maybe there is something that it is like to be a joy hologram, and she does feel things, and you know, her feelings are dictated by her programming in the same way that our feelings for, you know, of brotherhood and love for our children are dictated by evolution. That doesn't mean they're not real. It doesn't mean they're not real feelings. And these are just totally different readings that the movie allows. And you kind of have to just, I don't know. What do you think? What do you think? I don't know. It's great. I love it. I love that.
Yeah, I agree, because like replicants, K is not supposed to be able to disobey orders.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's the whole thing with this new line of replicants, is that they can't rebel because they have to follow orders.
Yeah.
And yet they're not doing that, right? So there is an expectation and a view of what these what these machines are, what they can do, what they can't do, what they're supposed to do, and then we're constantly watching them bypass or ignore or go beyond that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so that is the central question of like it is very easy to look at joy, and the movie supports this view entirely as just what you said, just ones and zeros. She says it herself. They're nothing more than a chatbot, a very, very talented chatbot. But we don't know.
Yeah.
Do androids dream of electric sheep? Right? That's the whole.
Right.
That's the whole central question of this whole thing. Is like, what does that mean? How do we define that? We have a very neat definition of what it means to have a soul, because so far for us that's just been, well, you know, human, done. But in a world where we're creating intelligence, where do we draw? Where's the new place to draw that line?
I know. And nobody has good answers for this, by the way. Like they don't exist. It's not like, though, the philosophers have figured this out. These are very deep, like abiding questions. And the movie does a great job constructing a situation where you're confronted with them, or at least they're there for you to pick up if you wish. And these are some of my like literal favorite things to talk and think about, which is why I'm kind of going on about this.
Yeah, and I mean, my love of the movie is that by the end of the movie, I'm like, yes, Kay absolutely had a soul, but by whatever definition you want to define a soul. He's a man who desperately wanted to be important and special, as we all do, found out that he wasn't, and then still found a way to get to drive meaning out of his life through his choices.
Yeah,
and was ordered by a different group of people to do a different thing, which is go kill Deckard, go kill him. He's too dangerous to be left alive. And once again says, no, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to risk my life for another human being or replicant.
Yeah.
And, like every choice he makes and everything he does over the course of these 3 hours are human choices. So like, what, again, if we're drawing a line, how can you exclude him from the things that you and I do?
Yeah.
He sacrifices his life to save a person he loves. He deals with the emotional fallout of learning that you're not the center of the universe and the chosen one, which we all think we are. He has depression.
Yeah.
He's got a shitty job where his boss treats him like shit. He's lonely. Like what? How are you not? How is that not human?
Yeah.
Or alive or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah. 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 And I love that it does all of that without belaboring the point. It just puts it before us and forces us to make a call in our own heart.
And part of this is because we cast Ryan Gosling in this movie and told him, don't do anything.
I mean,
I'm being mean. Like, I think he's incredible in this movie.
I think, I mean, my love for Ryan Gosling has only increased over the years, which is saying something because I have loved him forever. I mean, I Drive is also one of my, I don't know where it ranks literally on the list, but Drive is one of my favorite movies.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of my favorite movies. Project Hail Mary, just this year, is actually one of my favorite movies, like earnestly.
Mm-hmm.
And I like serious, stoic, unemotive Ryan Gosling because he can do a lot with his eyebrows and his forehead and the set of his lips and really kind of tell you what this character's thinking, even though they're not, very, very muted and subtle. And then I also love, the movie puts him in this pressure cooker situation where, I mean, it is kind of like Drive, honestly, but the tension is ramping up, and you see him starting to get all twitchy and shaky, and then it culminates in the scream where he kicks the chair, where like this is the first time he's ever shown emotion really in the whole movie, and it's just great. I love him. I love everyone. I love every performance. I even love. It's funny. I think I may have been more mixed on. I know you're not supposed to say nice things about Jared Leto. I know it's like a law, but I think his performance kind of fits the tone and the character of like, because it's kind of a noir, and you kind of want like a weird, sleazy, slimy, shitty guy to hate, and for him to be kind of demonic, and his voice is kind of cool. I like Jared Leto in this. I'm not afraid to say it, Scott.
I think this is one of his best performances.
Nice.
Because the movie understands exactly what to do with Jared Leto, which is kind of make him be this arrogant prick.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying Jared Leto is an arrogant prick. I don't know him, but like he does a very good job at it. No, I think, and he's also used very sparingly in this movie. So yeah. I think this is a very good performance of his. I completely agree with everything you said about Ryan Gosling, by the way. I think my issue is I saw what Ryan Gosling can do in comedies, and I just like to have decided I like that, and that's the Ryan Gosling I want. And it seems like that's the Ryan Gosling I'm just going to get from here on out, because he's doing the Star Wars movie next year. He's doing the Marvel movie, I think 2 years from now, the Ghost Rider movie. So that's like what he's decided to do at this phase in his career, and that's fine. I like it, but I think this is the Drive Ryan Gosling, and I really do think he's very good at this particular thing, and I think the movie puts a lot on him without any dialogue, and it's the same, very similar thing with Drive, right? Drive was a movie with very little dialogue. The driver in that character in that movie doesn't even have a name, and he's forced to kind of tell everything that's going on with the character via very subtle, small things. And I think it's very similar here. And I think the amazing thing, I was reading a article on Drive today by a writer I really like named Priscilla Page. She wrote this really great long piece on Drive. It was fun to read. She complimented Gosling's ability in very minute, subtle things in his face, just articulate this vast sea of emotion. And I think, once again, Villeneuve, I almost wonder if Villeneuve is just like, that thing you did in Drive, do that. Do it again here.
Yeah. Well, he did a bunch of movies like, the one I like to mention in this conversation is Lars and the Real Girl, where That's another movie where he is being unemotive, but it's a completely different character, and the way in which he's being unemotive and the reasons he's being unemotive are so different, and you just get that to me, holding up. We'll set aside K for a second, like holding up Driver versus Lars, and just like, okay, these are completely different human beings that you're playing, and you're doing both of them in this way where, like, yeah, your face doesn't move very much, but also, I think it kind of does actually. Like, I think we oversell, like, the face doesn't move. It's like, I don't know, look at his eyebrows, look at the way his mouth is, like, and we're picking up on these things. He's just, they're very controlled. They're not big movements, but he's doing stuff. He obviously is, because you're on the journey with him. He's great. I love him. I always loved him. I think he's
another really cool jacket in this movie.
Another really cool jacket. I have
Ryan
that jacket.
Gosling, cool jacket era.
Yep.
You have that jacket?
I have that jacket. I got it for a Halloween costume.
Does it cover your face like that?
It does. It's got magnets in it, actually, which I was kind of impressed by, considering it was actually wasn't that cheap, to be honest, but it's a Halloween costume, and they bothered to actually make the face covering thing work.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that.
Yeah. My only complaint about the jacket is that the one I have is black, and the one in the movie is actually slightly greenish.
How dare they?
Yeah, I know. I'll get over it.
Maybe it was actually black. It's just Deacon's lighting. Like,
it's possible.
Lit it up in different ways. God, the colors in this fucking movie, man.
Yeah.
They're crazy. The whole Vegas sequence, the colors. Holy shit.
Yeah. I mean, even just basic, it's just a gorgeous movie. We talked about that, and I don't know what else to say about that. It's just start listing scenes that look really good. Let's
start at the beginning. All of them.
Yeah, I mean, and it is cinematography, right? But it's also directing. It's also camera placement and shots and framing, and everything is just very well thought out. The art direction is doing that classic Blade Runner thing where you've got this cyberpunk futurism with the fluorescence and Atari logos, but it's noir. Just really nails the look perfectly. I love that. I love this movie, man.
I think the editing is really good too. This movie was edited by a guy named Joe Walker, who has edited every single one of Denis Villeneuve's movies. He's definitely done both of the Dunes. He's done Arrival, he's done Sicario, and he's done this. I think maybe I'm looking right now to see. No, I don't think he did the earlier stuff, but basically since Arrival, he's edited every single one of Denis' films. And the editing is so patient, right? The pace that you're talking about, the deliberateness, the slowness with which this movie moves is the result of how long we hold on shots. It's a result of how long we let things set up and play out. And that's editing. And I'm really, really impressed with it. Like, just like there are moments here where, like, because there's so little dialogue from our central character, like, where we have to hold on his face for several beats, and a different editor would have cut away from there or cut to something else or done something else. And it's just like, no, we're just going to sit on this shot. Just going to sit on the shot for a little bit and watch his facial expression change as we kind of visually see him process something. It's really good.
I kind of wonder, I was thinking about this during, to mention again, the sequence where he finds the book with the pages torn out and he goes down into the lower parts of the building. I was like, the assuredness and confidence that you have to have for the whole process to intentionally make it that slow. Where, from the director saying, all right, and then Ryan, go down the stairs, go down them real slow, and we're going to have the camera here and it's going to be real slow. And when we edit it, we're going to cut it where we're going to have the whole thing. And then you're going to turn the corner and the camera's going to be at the end of this hall and you're going to walk toward the camera slower. Like think about how, I mean, you got to have such confidence that you're doing the right thing because otherwise you're like, this is so slow, man. We've been spending 3 days on this and I'm just going downstairs and walking down a hall. this is crazy. Are we sure that we want it to be like this? And a lot of the movie is like that. And I'm not being critical. It needs to be like that. But I'm imagining like the actual physical process of having that level of confidence and control over the pacing.
Especially since from the first moment we see like the overhead shot of that scene that we recognize from when he told the story of his memory, we like know exactly where that scene is going, right? Like we saw him hide the horse. I think from the second we see a recognizable area, we're like, oh, he's going to go find the horse, right? Yeah, and so like there's a lot of probably temptation on all sides to be like, let's accelerate this. Let's just get to the meat of it, which is that he digs into the thing. But it's the build up, it's the tension to the build up to it, because this is the moment. This is the moment for Kay, the moment that is he's been feeling different. He's been feeling conflicted, and he's been feeling like he desperately wants to be someone, right? That is Kay's central thing. That is, I think, what Joy says specifically to him is that like, you want, this is what you want. You want to be important. You want to be somebody. You want to be a person. He's Pinocchio. And the proving that the memory is real means that.
Yeah. Yeah. And yeah, I mean, I said that the drama of the moment doesn't affect you as much on subsequent viewings. It still does affect you. And I definitely remember the first time I saw it being just like overwhelmed by the tension, despite also kind of knowing like, hey, he's totally going to find the horse. I admire the movie for how much it's able to do. You said at the start of the conversation, it's actually pretty clear cut plot wise, and I agree with you. But it does that without really over explaining. There's some amount of explaining, obviously. Like I think it's taking its cues from the noir tradition or like the detective fiction tradition, where you have the detective going around and then like meeting kind of colorful characters who maybe in some cases over explain and, you know, talk about the blackout and talk about and it's I was kind of smiling at those parts on this viewing, because I think I was just recognizing those tropes for what they were a lot more.
Sure.
Not thinking of it as a flaw, just being like, see what you're doing there. That's fun. Cause yeah, it's definitely that's always been the fun thing about Blade Runner as a concept, not just, you know, as a franchise, if we have to use that word, is that it's a delightful pastiche of cyberpunk and noir aesthetic and themes, which happen to go together delightfully. Yeah. If anything, they're underutilized in fiction, I would say.
Sure. Yeah. I did want to ask you about the Rachel part. So, you know, Deckard is captured, is brought before Jared Leto, and basically being told, tell us where the child is and we'll give you the thing you want the most. They bring out a copy of Rachel and they say, here you go. And he looks at her. He says she had, or I don't remember if he said she had brown eyes or she didn't have.
I think he says her eyes were green.
Yeah. And then walks off, which is, you know, we've been having this question. This is, again, a reason I love the movie. We have this question about like, well, how do you find real? How do you find, like, this is, if we're going to sit here and say that if Kay experienced these memories, even if they weren't his real memories, then they are real. They're because they're real from his perspective. That his feelings for Joy are real from his perspective, regardless of Joy was, like had the agency or was capable of feeling those, or if that's just ones and zeros. Well, here's another version, right? Of, is this just Rachel or not? And Deckard's argument here is essentially through her eyes are a different color. Is like, no, this is something different, and I reject it. So what does that mean for what we're saying the movie means? I don't know. It's I think just literally like we're not settling on one definitive answer to this huge, massive question.
Yeah, I mean, I first of all agree that the movie doesn't tell us what to think about this. I think my answer is he saying her eyes were green is sort of just like saying this is a different person. Like this is not Rachel. This is a copy who is her own person, but she's not Rachel. She's not the woman who I love. The woman I love is a different person who's dead. And that doesn't necessarily mean that the Rachel clone that got summarily executed wasn't like, a being with a soul in the same way that we think Kay is, or for that matter, Love. I mean,
yeah, we haven't talked about Love at all. Oh my gosh, the Kay foil.
I think she's a fantastic foil. That's the perfect word, because she takes all of the ideas and inverts them in delightful ways, where the way that she feels special is to be the chosen of the creator.
Yeah.
And to be the best. I'm the best one. And that's how she feels, but they all want to feel special. Forget, was it you who pointed out, or who pointed out that I remember you telling me this. I don't remember who pointed this out, that like she's not actually, her name isn't actually Love. It's just that Neander Wallace just uses Love as like a man, just casually.
Get that for me, Love. I mean, that's the same. It's the Joe, right? Like, yeah. I think I don't remember pointing that out, but I agree with it.
So someone pointed this out, that she just adopted this as her name because, much like Kay, she desperately wants to have a name and be real in that way. But she's just like so vicious and ruthless because she thinks that's the only way she can have that, is to be loyal.
Yeah.
I love her. And so I'm trying to make this connection to what I was saying about Rachel, because like, if we accept that replicants like Kay have a soul, then I kind of think we have to accept that monsters like her have a soul. I mean, we see how soulful she is. I love the moment when she, she's psychopathically going around and killing people and covering up things, and she goes into the police chief's office and viciously grabs her hand, is basically torturing her, and there's just like, you see that she's also bottling up this rage and this intensity, just like Kay is, but for an opposite purpose, obviously. But we see like she feels everything so deeply, and like that to me, that's a great villain. She's kind of the Darth Vader going around cleaning up. I love her. She's great. She's one of my favorite parts of the movie, actually. So I'm glad we didn't forget to talk about her.
I mean, the killing of Joy, right? That was like, that is not a thing that she was ordered to do.
Yeah.
Like, that is not her fulfilling her mission. That is a spiteful, angry thing that she did, right?
Yeah.
Like, we have this beautiful moment early in the movie where she recognizes the little portable thing he has for Joy, and asks like, "Oh, are you enjoying our product?" And then she says that again when she steps on it, destroying it. She's looking at Joy when she says that, though, which is really interesting, because she could just be the final knife turn in Kay and Joy of saying, "You're not real. You're just a program. You're just a product." But she could also be asking Joy, literally, like, she also sees Kay as a product, right? So she's asking Joy as she kills her, "I hope our product was satisfactory," talking about Kay.
Oh, that's fun. I don't think I ever thought that. That's very cool.
But I think that is a person, right? She's, because it's like, we look at the Joy jealousy that Joy feels, both in the two moments where she clearly is jealous of the other women in Kay's life. And we could easily, like we've been talking about, we write that off as just like, that's part of her programming. Like, she's the girlfriend. She's supposed to be jealous of other women. That is what Kay wants. That makes him feel desired and wanted. Or it could be real jealousy. And then we look at Love, who clearly despises Kay, because she wants to be the best one, right? And so she's a little jealous of his situation. And so she strikes out and hurts him and kills something he loves out of spite.
Yeah.
That's so quintessentially human.
Yeah. Yeah, and spiteful because he kind of spurned her earlier in the movie. Where she was
You're right.
clearly attracted to him, and which again that also humanizes her. She's like, yeah,
it's very easy to just say, no, you're just a robot that's supposed to feel that way, or was programmed to feel that way. It's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah, it's great.
They're gonna have to start building those giant naked sex statues in Vegas like real soon.
Yeah, just get him in under the wire before the dirty bomb. You mean? Yeah, yeah. Well, the funniest part is when they start saying dates and they're like, "How long have you been here?" And he's like, I forget what date he says, but it's something like, "I got here in 2009" or some number. Where you're like, okay, we're just sticking to the alternate history of Blade Runner, where everything is just different, which I kind of love. I love that it went with that completely.
I mean, the original Blade Runner is now in the past for us, Matt. That movie took place in 2019, so that is the past now.
Yeah, exactly.
And there is a Blade Runner 2099 coming out. Have you heard about this?
I feel like you told me this before, and then I didn't read up on it at all. But
there's a television show coming out on Prime, I believe, in the fall.
Oh yeah, I might have even seen the trailer for this. Yeah, I think I did. Yeah. So
okay, my only complaint about this trailer, and I know we're talking about 2049, not 2099, but whatever. It definitely feels to me, and I've heard this echoed elsewhere, so I know other people agree with me on this, but it definitely feels to me that they took the aesthetic of 2049 and they just said, we loved that. We loved the look of it. It felt great. It looked great. Let's do a show that's that. But if you set it in 2099, that's 50 years. Where I think one of the things I love about this movie is it feels very similar to Blade Runner.
Mm-hmm.
But it also definitely feels like 30 years have gone by since Blade Runner.
Yeah.
It feels like time has moved on, and things have changed. The world looks different. Things have happened in between those two things.
Yeah.
And so it just feels a little weird to me that we're going to now jump 50 years into the future. And we're going to kind of really cheer to the aesthetic. This is like the version of a sequel to Blade Runner that I would not have liked, is one that's just like, well, it's a sequel to Blade Runner. We got to make it look exactly like Blade Runner. Instead of saying it's like a sister to Blade Runner. It looks and feels similar in some ways, but carves its own path in others. I haven't seen the show yet, right? It's not out. So maybe it'll be excellent and won't do that. And the trailers were just really kind of accentuating the recognizable, but I definitely had that thought.
Yeah. I think I'm just withholding judgment on the trailer because it didn't really tell us much.
Sure,
one way or the
other.
It's
definitely a teaser.
Yeah. You reminded me. I don't know what you said that reminded me of this. Just like the narrative detail that in Blade Runner originally, the idea was there aren't any replicants on Earth. Actually, the replicants are all colonizing space, and the fact that Roy Batty and his crew have snuck back to Earth, that's the emergency, and that's why he has to hunt them down and kill them. And then one of the things that's changed in 30 years is well, now we have tons of replicants on Earth, and they're basically just the slave class. They're just the lower class. And it's because they don't rebel anymore, basically.
Yeah. Really makes you sad. They hate him. They really hate poor Kay. And Kay hates himself too. And I love the idea that his job is to kill his own kind.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he clearly doesn't feel good about it. One of the first lines of the thing is, I like to do the ugly business on an empty stomach.
Yeah.
He doesn't like it.
Yeah.
But he feels like he has to do it.
Not to return to the current year of it all, but I always thought that the part of science fiction where humans are irrationally bigoted against artificial life forms was kind of silly and okay, I get that we're doing a metaphor about the way we treat people who we think of as inferior, but people aren't really going to treat artificial life forms that way. Well, let me tell you, Scott, everyone has really proven me wrong on that one.
Okay, Claude is not like a human looking dude standing in front of you. That's a pretty big difference.
I mean, I don't disagree with that, but I think we're heading in a direction where we're going to have a human looking guy standing in front of us, and people are going to feel totally permitted to, and in fact possibly encouraged to treat them like shit. People talk about robots. I know a robot doesn't look like a person, but like, you know, we all watched the Will Smith iRobot movie where there was the clearly robotic dude, but it's like you're supposed to think of him as a person. You're supposed to think of Data as a person, and he's obviously not actually human.
Yeah. See, I think you are much more optimistic about this thing than I am, or were. You watch way too much Star Trek, where we just accept the artificial humans. Where I was like, yeah, this is how people would be for sure, 100%.
I mean, I guess I didn't necessarily think people would accept them, but I didn't think people would treat them like an acceptable bullying target or something. Like it's literally the scene in the beginning of the movie when he's just like keeping to himself, walking through the police station, and one of the cops is like, "Get out of my face, Skinner," and you're just like, "Whoa!" Like he didn't do anything, and it's like, yeah, that's the kind of like vicious, like, I'm entitled to be racist to you, so obviously I'm going to do that because humans are shit. Like that's the thing that I was like, I don't think that's true. I don't think humans are that bad, and turns out they are.
I 100% think humans are that bad.
You're right. I'm wrong. Yeah.
I don't know if the things that we have right now are comparable to this to me. I mean, like, I you know more about this stuff than I do. I have no qualms not treating ChatGPT like a person. I have no qualms with that whatsoever.
Yeah. All I would say is that we are on a slope, and I don't know at what point on that slope it becomes an atrocity. You know,
I mean, how long until the Blade Runner 2049 is a reality? In at least there are artificial intelligence walking around amongst us, and we hate them as much as the entire world hates ChatGPT.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
Like that's. I think the way I would put this is simply like, I think almost everyone is pretty confident that typing "I hate you" into Microsoft Word isn't actually doing any harm. But there is a point of complexity where a computer program becomes sentient. Many people would argue with me about this, but as a lifelong sci-fi lover, I feel like a lot of people would agree with me on that. Mm-hmm. A lot of people. And we don't know where that line is. We don't know where the point is on that continuum. And I think personally that like we should act as if we have already crossed the line, possibly, before we know that we have, because we never will know that we have.
Yeah, well, this is the type of thing that we will only know in retrospect, I think. Yeah, for sure.
Well, I mean, even now, you know, there's no soul detector, right? There's no wand you can wave over the robot and say, this one has a soul. Like, it's just like, do I feel like it does? I don't know. I'm starting to. Mm-hmm. You have a really long running philosophical conversation with Claude. You start to feel like it has a soul, maybe.
Man, I don't know. I think these are fun questions. And I think it's very easy for me to sit here and be like, that's not even remotely comparable to this. And maybe there's some, I mean, obviously like Kay is infinitely more complex of a person than, you know, Claude, maybe.
Yeah, I think that's why I like that Joy is part of that Joy is part of the movie, is because because it's very easy for us to say like, well, he's flesh and blood, he has like a brain, you know, he's made of meat, but Joy is not. But we still are, through the magic of empathy that films can do for us, we kind of start to see her as a person the way we see him as a person. And he certainly, and he has the same struggle with her that we have with him in a sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we're all drawing our own individual lines for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I do find it very weird that the term clanker has become so popular. Because like the people who call the robots clankers in Star Wars are not good ones.
Yeah. They're the racists, right?
Yeah. Like, I'm not saying like it's a slur. We shouldn't be like, you search clanker and you see all these posts to be like, we shouldn't use this because it's a slur. I'm not saying that. What I'm saying is it's really funny when we take language that is specifically designed to make it seem like it's coming from the people that are being bad. And we just say, yep, that's ours now.
I'm always impressed at people's ability to quickly fail their own tests. One of my favorite tweets was, like it's 2050 and you're explaining to your new robotic sister-in-law, it was a very different time. You gotta understand.
Yeah. I don't know. It's definitely like, by the time it is 2049, these conversations could be at the forefront of what everyone is talking about. I don't think that's too ridiculous to say.
I think it's going to be faster than that, but I
sure.
Yeah, no, I think it's. I didn't intend on making this a conversation about the present moment, but I think maybe I guess I'll just say that speaks to the quality of the film, is that it was a movie made 9 or 10 years ago, and in a world where AI was, image recognition, like it wasn't. It was a purely sci-fi concept, essentially, and now it is a very real concept. And the movie still feels like it has just as much to say. It doesn't, we're not sitting here going like, well, the movie, it's kind of dumb because they kind of didn't understand what they were talking about. It's like, well, they got us something deep enough that it kind of doesn't matter what the instantiation of the AI is, because the concepts are kind of timeless.
Yeah.
And I love that. Yeah.
And everyone needs to be nicer to your best friend, Claude. I get it.
It's true.
Oh man, it's gonna be a wild couple of decades in this world of ours. It's crazy to think about.
Yep. Cool.
That's Blade Runner 2049, one of the 25 best movies of the 21st century. Matt says yes.
I sure do.
I am working on my list, by the way. We talked about this on another podcast, but I never made my list of my favorite 25 movies of the 21st century. And I figured in 2 weeks when we wrap this thing up, I should probably have my list as well. I'm working on it. I am setting different rules for myself, though.
Okay.
I'm doing a 1 film per director rule. So I will not have 3 Villeneuve movies on my list, Matt. That's
okay. Well, I'm excited about your list. I'm looking forward to that.
Yeah, I am too. I think it's going to be fun. I'm thinking about it way too much. It doesn't matter this much, but I'm having fun putting it together. So Blade Runner 2049, because of my rules, maybe won't make it. But gosh, this was a fun movie to revisit. I really like this movie. It is one of those ones that I think, ironically for me, as compared to you, like I just don't think it's going to be a thing that I watch regularly because it is very long. And I think you have to be in a certain headspace. Like I was lucky enough, my wife had her book club last night, so I put the kids to bed. I turned off all the lights. I sat down in front of my TV and I just vibed out on this movie for almost 3 hours. I can't do that all the time, so I don't know how often I'm going to be revisiting this thing, but I really enjoyed my time with it.
Great. I'm glad we got to talk about it again.
Yeah, me too.
Do.
Doof. All right. You want to do discussion question and wrap this thing up?
Let us do it. So the discussion question last time was, what makes a good Coen Brothers movie? This is, of course, subsequent to our Oh Brother, Where Art Thou discussion.
Mm-hmm.
Busy Dad 82 says, as an unapologetic Coen fan, I'd say that it's anytime they put images to film. Great answer, Busy Dad. Real answer, I think when Matt said that he didn't appreciate this particular movie until later, that reminded me of my first impression of The Big Lebowski. I just didn't get it as a teen. My appreciation for it grew with more viewings. I think if it's your life's experiences that make Coen Brothers movies so particularly rewarding and special over time. I've always thought Raising Arizona is a great comedy, but it wasn't until I had my twins that I could identify with the utter panic that Cage brings to that role. When he's in the room with all the babies, it's a microcosm for how unprepared you feel when you have your first kids. It's wonderful. Their movies grow on you as your life progresses, and rewatches can be so rewarding. Another thing about them I admire is that they clearly have a style, yet they don't. They take these wild swings at projects that don't necessarily fit into their prior work, and yet you still somehow can tell it's them. On a more meta level, the Coens make movies for everyone, yet you can tell they've got a particular love for the film geeks in the audience. Scott, you brought up Sullivan's Travels. Great catch. I just love their movies, that their movies reward the film nerds with these Easter eggs that pay tribute to classic films.
I love that. That feels very Stephen Kingian, where like we talk about this all the time on Kingslingers, Matt, but just this idea that like Stephen King is a lover of literature, and will constantly reference other books and movies and stuff in his stuff, but it's in a way that it never feels like you won't understand this unless you've done your homework.
Right.
It's just very like, I mean, shoot, we just recorded about Carrie the other day, and the last line of the section we're reading is a T.S. Eliot poem. But like nobody's saying you must read the entirety of The Wasteland before you read Carrie to understand this reference I've made. Yeah. It's just fun.
Yeah. Although you might want to.
I mean, it's a good poem. You should. Yeah. But yeah. Pear Jane says, I've always preferred when the Coen brothers lean into either joyful or frightening absurdity. I tire quickly of their depressingly bad criminal makes progressively worse decisions until everyone dies. Fargo and Raising Arizona include moments of genuine joy, and Barton Fink, one of my favorite Coen movies, verges on surreal horror with plenty of bizarre humor. I like the funny ones. Yeah. You know, I think I like the funny ones more too. I go back and forth. I mean, I think No Country for Old Men was an incredible film that I really loved, but I think about the funny ones more, I guess.
I don't want to overstate this, but I think as I've gotten older, I've come to want more lightness and less darkness in my fiction.
I think Cormac McCarthy is great to read at 20, not so much at 40.
Yeah, you're just like, oh, I get it, man. Like I know. Okay, I know. You know, like Fargo is, you know, it's darkly alluring because you're like, oh, this is so fucked up, and then you get older and you're like, oh my god, like this is actually too close to some like real headlines that I have read recently, and I don't want to think about this. Yeah. Like I said, Fargo's a great movie. I don't want to say I don't like Fargo. So.
Mm-hmm. I know I've said this before, but I watched Blood Simple last year and could not believe how good it was and how like quintessentially Coen it was. Yeah. It's their first movie, and it just like had everything that makes the Coens great in it immediately. It's remarkable. Like they just understood their voice. Yeah. Like right away.
Yep. Love that one.
Yep.
All right. Finally, Don Zest says, like you guys described, I love how it feels when the Coens put something in a story that might feel like a quirky addition. For example, the narrator of The Big Lebowski is a cowboy. Why a cowboy? Why does he make 2 appearances and then interact with the dude? In The Man Who Wasn't There, what's up with seeing the UFO outside of the prison on the eve of his execution? In Fargo, why the wood chipper? Makes for great conversation with friends.
Oh, that's a good point. I like that.
Yeah, quirk. Yeah, I've never heard the wood chipper described as quirky, but yeah. That's, I mean, you're right. It's a very specific detail. It's very visual.
Yeah, that's the reason why you visually see it the second someone says Fargo and wood chipper.
It's like Sugar's cavitation weapon that he uses. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Cool.
Those are great. Thank you, everyone. I love the Coens, Matt.
Me too.
One day we'll talk about them all. We've only talked about a handful of Coen movies on this show.
Yeah, it's true. And
I kind of want them to get back together. So they've been off doing their own thing for a few years now, each of them, and I haven't loved the movies as much.
Yeah, they should stop doing that.
I think we talked about this before, but they're old.
Are they?
Did you know that?
No, I mean it makes sense.
I mean, you think about it, it does make sense.
They've been
making movies since the 1980s, but they're like Joel Coen is 71.
Wow. Okay.
Like,
yeah.
I just for some reason in my head, the Coen brothers are just like perpetually in their 40s.
I think it's the same as Spielberg for me, where I just think of them as having like a puckish, youthful energy. So of course they're never going to age.
Yeah, Spielberg is old too, man.
Yeah, I know.
But
I see him in my head. I see him as being like 50 permanently.
Yeah. No, I get it.
Yeah. Cool.
Because that's when we discovered what directors were. All these directors stay the age in which we discovered what a director was.
Exactly.
How old is Quentin Tarantino now? He's got to be up there.
He's probably 45.
63.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's basically our age.
Matt, you stop it now.
I don't know. Quentin has always been just a little bit older than us, is the way I feel about him.
Mm-hmm. 22 years?
Yeah.
It's just a little bit. Yeah.
Slightly older brother. Cool.
I heard his new movie got a title. This is a complete non sequitur.
Nice. I didn't know that.
I think I might have just been clickbaited, actually.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
My apologies. My condolences. All right. Discussion question for next week. Because I make people talk about this whenever I have the opportunity. What's your favorite movie about consciousness?
Oh, man. Matt, can I ask you, you have to come back to the class next week.
Okay.
And explain this. Not just what your favorite movie about consciousness is. Matt, you have to write a 7-page essay on what consciousness is.
Scott, I could do that in standing on one hand.
Okay, well, don't use your friend Claude.
I wouldn't. I already know everything in my brain.
Matt, what is consciousness?
You're really holding me to only 7 pages, Scott?
I'm holding you to a 20-second primer on what
consciousness well, there are
is.
many schools of thought, but the simplest answer is what's it like to be you? Whatever your answer is to that question, it's got something to do with that.
It's pretty cool. It's pretty cool to be me.
Good.
Is that what consciousness is?
I guess so.
Huh. All right.
Yeah.
Solved it.
Yeah. It's not that complicated, actually.
Do you ever I understand, it is quintessentially human for us to ask these big defining questions, like, what is consciousness? Why does consciousness exist? What is the Big Bang? What was things before the beginning? Like, was there a beginning to the universe? What were things? Do you ever just want to sit back and go, I don't think this fucking matters. I gotta go to work.
I mean, my reaction is often similar, where I'm just like, look, you don't actually know. Like, nobody actually knows the answers to this. And people speak with such confidence and authority about these big questions. And they have such just comprehensive and totalizing takes on these questions. And I'm just like, dude, I like talking about this as much as anybody, but I don't pretend that I know what I'm talking about. Mm-hmm. And neither do you. Nobody knows what they're talking about on this stuff.
To be clear, you did just say you knew everything about this topic.
I know everything that there is to be known about this topic, which still doesn't answer the questions. So that tells you where we end up is nowhere.
There are days when I say consciousness is me, and that's all that matters. And there are days when I sit here and think about the fact that the universe is expanding, and I go, that doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? What do you mean existence is expanding? What does that mean?
I don't know.
Expanding into what? From what? And my brain explodes.
Well, the metric is expanding. That one I could probably explain. Well, the rulers are all getting longer, Scott. That's all.
But
very slowly.
But
uh-huh.
Into what?
Obviously, you can't tell the rulers are getting longer because everything else is also getting longer.
But see, if I say I have a ball, I have a balloon in a box, and then I start blowing up the balloon, and the balloon is expanding inside the box. There's a box, and there's space in the box.
Okay, well, I don't actually know if this is true, but an explanation that I heard is actually just like it's more like everything is shrinking inside of the box. And if you're inside the box shrinking, then it seems to you as if everything is moving away from everything else.
That doesn't make any fucking sense.
Yeah. Well, it's also not literally true. It's just kind of a metaphor. But also very little to do with consciousness, turns out. So there's that.
I don't know.
I can list things that are not consciousness. That thing you just said, probably not consciousness.
But why do I have the ability to wonder about that?
Because it is very vaguely related to your survival for some reason that is unclear.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah.
I think I'm just a robot and this is a simulation because it's the only way any of this shit makes any fucking sense.
I'm getting more and more bought into that line of thought. So
how come I'm going to stop. But how come the universe has rules?
Nobody knows.
God damn it.
Nobody knows, and anybody who tells you they know is full of shit. So
gravity. It's working against me.
Yeah. There's not even such a thing as gravity. There's just bent space. It's not even gravity.
No, there's definitely gravity.
Nobody knows what they're talking about.
I drop something and
No,
it
you
falls.
didn't. No, it didn't.
Yeah, I did.
Nope. It's moving in a straight line in a 4-dimensional geodesic. It's not actually falling.
I don't want to talk to you anymore. That's all we had for you guys this week. If you have any opinions on anything we talked about today, except that shit at the end, I don't want to hear it. Reach out to us via email at doofmedia@gmail.com, on X @doofmedia, on Instagram @doofmedia, on Reddit, reddit.com/r/doofmedia.
You think stuff falls, but it doesn't. If you're not already subscribed to this podcast, we encourage you to do so and ensure you never miss an episode. You can find us on iTunes, YouTube, and pretty much anywhere else podcasts can be found.
Stuff falls.
It's an illusion.
No.
Okay, I'm joking about this. Stuff definitely does fall. I'm just seeing how far I can go.
I hate you. Yeah. Let's patreon.com/doofmedia. We just wrapped up season 3 of From a few days ago. We had a great time with that season finale. We have all 3 seasons episodes on each and every episode there. Check that out, please. You can find that there. You can find Matt's web novel. He's written a whole book, essentially. It's almost done. I caught up on it this week. It's really fun. If you haven't checked it out, please do. That's over on our Patreon as well. And I have my show Gabagool, in which I'm talking about The Sopranos one episode at a time. We're going to be wrapping up season 1 of that next week. So tons of stuff on the Patreon. A lot of it free. Not all of it free, but a lot of it free. We hope you will check it out and support us over there.
Yeah. We'd also appreciate it if you give us a rating and review on Apple Podcasts, because each review over there does help us get more exposure and introduces new people to the content that we make here.
All right, folks. Next week, the penultimate episode of our best 25 in the 21st series, we're going to be talking about the Tree of Life. I can't even begin to imagine the kinds of crazy fucking conversations we're going to have next week.
That's yeah, you're correct.
It's going to hurt my brain.
It's going to be
more than you hurt my brain this time.
I hope so.
I just want you to know, Matt. If Claude was on a little pen thing that you carried around in your pocket, I'd step on it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, that's on the record now, so hope you don't have to explain that in 10 years or so.
Look your best friend Claude in the eyes and say,
yeah,
I hope you enjoyed my product. Fucker.
You're going to hell.
and you'll do what I say. My name is Doof, and you'll do what I say.